Today is November the 24th, 2022. And as I wait for wonderful, wise people to join me from across the world, I reflect on 2022, where we started and where we're heading to at the end of this year with deep gratitude. And so, as it is Thanksgiving Day in America today, we give gratitude for everybody in the world and all the people who are over-challenged by the world and who need our help. Thank you. So, welcome to you all. We may have other people joining us, but I want to start. And you've got the chat line there, so you can introduce yourself, say where you're coming from as we go into this wonderful hour together. So I have to just tell you a little story, because I think everything happens in life for a reason. I hope you all agree with me. So yesterday morning, I was all geared for a wonderfully busy day. I let my dog out of the back door, and as I came back, it was dark. She had woken up rather early, and I managed to rather forcefully hit the foot of the sofa between toe 2 and 3, and split them, so that I was in, and I went very loud. And as I then went upstairs and I started doing some work, I thought I was fine. I had a Zoom call, I made some calls, but when I got up from my desk and started trying to walk around, I found I couldn't walk very well because my foot was extremely painful, and my third toe had then expanded to twice its size. So I'm not sure what the significance of this is in causing me to pause for the whole day. So I actually had to take the weight off my feet, maybe take the weight off my brain, I'm not sure. But I had the whole day actually with my foot up. I did actually go and get an X-ray to make sure it was okay, and it was. And today I can report that it's a lot better. It's still tender, but maybe there's something about keeping one's balance, because I think the third toe, the middle toe of your right foot, is a very important part of keeping your balance, keeping your presence. So isn't that extraordinary that one very tiny part of your body can create such an imbalance in the whole thing, that everything that you're about? And maybe that is what our wisdom today is about. I have some ideas to share with you, but where I'm going to start is, as I put on the posters, about gratitude. Now, as those of you not in America probably know, today is Thanksgiving Day. Absolutely. In America. So for all Americans, happy Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving. And it brings us to mind about what we are grateful for. Now, another extraordinary thing is that today, 11 years ago to this day, it was the day I met Jim. And I met him in Budapest. And I wasn't expecting to meet somebody who I would then marry and who would take me off around the world on this wisdom journey. And in that 11 years, we got married the next year. I spent 4 years in Malaysia, which is where I met Patsy, who's on the call here today. And as you all know, I'm British. So my wisdom journey has taken me around the world from that day 11 years ago. So it's also somehow about the unexpected. What they say, the Spanish Inquisition. I don't know whether any of you remember the Spanish Inquisition, but who would have expected the Spanish Inquisition? Who would have expected that we would all be here on this day, looking at a world which, dare I say, is in quite a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil, a lot of bad things happening in the world, a lot of good things happening in the world. And so as we look at gratitude, how can we be grateful, be full of gratitude, and what does that mean for us? Where does it take us in our lives? Is it just thank you, have a nice day.
Yeah.
It is truly meaningful from our hearts when we can sometimes look into the abyss of something extremely bad and say, I'm going to get over this. I'm going to make my way through. And I do believe that there are signs that things turn up for us when we need them, and sometimes we don't notice them. So I want to ask you, what do you notice about a day like today? There is some people say, well, we shouldn't be having this Thanksgiving Day in America because of blah, blah, blah. But, it is a day of Thanksgiving. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Every moment can be a day of Thanksgiving. And it is down to us as human beings to actually understand what that means for us. And it is about understanding the ripple effect of what happens with other people. So I want to just share a screen background to set you thinking about some ideas. Because I was not very well yesterday, a friend of mine bought me a magazine. Can you see my back, Drew? And there's 4 words on there. So she bought me a magazine because she thought I would need something because I had my foot up. I was being a patient. And when I read this magazine, it spoke to me. And I thought, that's so interesting. Why did that come to me? And so I just reflected on these 4 words, and I'd like you to just reflect on them, and then we'll do some sharing.
Pauline, would you mind reading them? Because I'm now off my phone rather than my computer, and I can't quite see the words.
So the words are, and I will take them in order. I would like to think about, where do we start by nurturing ourselves and our life? And actually, it's a reflection of this year. So if we take 2022, at the beginning of the year, as you came into the new year, what were you nurturing? What were you seeding? I was actually in a very difficult situation because my husband, Jim, was in hospital and I thought he was going to die. So I had a very serious first quarter where I was looking at how do I nurture? How do I put my life back together? So thinking about, what are you grateful for that you've seeded this year? What have you seeded in order to have it blossom? Because the second word they talked about was flourish. That in order to seed the ground, we need to allow it to flourish. We can't go in and harvest it straight away. And in the second quarter of this year, I was presented with opportunities to be president-elect of a Rotary Club of Global Impact, also to take up the position of positive masculinity. I didn't know these things were going to come, but maybe they came from the first quarter where I was seeding ideas, seeding the idea of how can we nurture the world and the passion I have for authentic harmony. So hopefully you all know I'm very passionate about understanding men and women and how we are different and how we are magically, amazingly able to build and create together, but sometimes we don't, in a world which is marginalizing some aspects of our community. So the idea of the flourishing, maybe I was just there to open my heart and things came in. Some of you who I've only met this year, you've come into my life. So who have you attracted to your life? By seeding something at the beginning of the year, what did you allow to grow, to flourish? And the third word is fortitude. I found this really interesting because there have been some very dark moments in this year for the world and still carrying on. Is where do we gain the fortitude? Where do we gain the courage to keep on going when we get hit by all sorts of things? The economy is really challenged. Society is becoming more argumentative. We can't even dare to look at politics. Everything is getting contentious. And I'm in the middle of that going, how can we invite men and women to create a world that is full of wisdom and gratitude? It's so important. So fortitude, I want you to think about, what have you been really courageous about? Where have you had to take your, what they say, pull up your socks and keep on marching? Even like my issue yesterday when I damaged my toe and I couldn't walk without holding on to Jim. And then I got a pair of crutches, and I never used crutches or a stick before in my life. So it was quite a fascinating how one toe took me totally off balance. Just that toe. And I'm looking at that toe thinking, how can you have this much control over me? So fortitude, what did you really have courage to come over and to be grateful for that, especially if it was a really difficult challenge, a mental, physical, emotional, whatever it was. Maybe you've had to move house, maybe you've lost somebody with COVID, maybe all sorts of things have come in to test you. Because it is a very testing world, a very testing time. And the last word they looked at was presence. And this is what we're building now. This is the last quarter of the year. This is, what presence have we got as wise people, both collectively and in our own arena? You all do something different. Many of you are solo entrepreneurs, you are consultants, you are not necessarily working in large corporations. You don't have that support around you of a business. I think all of us are in that position. So how do people see, hear, feel your presence in the world? And what is our collective presence as we go into 2023? And that is really, I mean, it's my life, my mission is to understand the power of authentic harmony. So that's my own mission, which I hope that you all really want to be part of. We are solo and we are collective. We are individuals and together. And the power of authentic harmony, which we have talked about over the last few wisdom circles, and I've been bold in saying goodbye to equality, hello harmony, which potentially some people in the gender equality world may not like. They may think that I'm being frivolous, foolish, but I don't believe that. I believe that all the things that I've experienced this year have brought me to this point of understanding that unless we have harmony, we need to know ourselves for sure, but if we don't have harmony with those around us, we will continue to battle. We will continue to fight, and we will continue to destroy each other. So as we go into 2023, I believe that authentic harmony will take us to peace. It's not going to be easy. There are still going to be lots of challenges in our own individual lives, our own communities, our own countries. But we are part of a global movement. And I was fascinated when I just saw those words on the page of this magazine. I hadn't put that journey together. So I hope that's given you some inspiration to think about, what did you seed this year? What did you allow to grow? Were you too anxious to make money and stopped it growing? Did you just let it grow and find people attracted to you? What was the courage and fortitude you had? And how do people know your presence? How do they, when they talk to other people, they say, hey, you know, that person, this is what they do in the world, and this is what I want to be part of. So I hope that gives you some direction for what we're at. And what I would love to ask you is to each come on and just say maybe what you are grateful for this year, and what will you take into next year? Is that okay, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be bold and ask Patsy to go first, because it is after midnight in Kuala Lumpur.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
You might be too tired soon.
Yeah, well, is everybody, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I've been very grateful today. Finally, we have a unity government. this is like, we just like, finish the election. But what is the good news is the unity government is really like, get us from a very diversified background. And we finally all agree, like, coming to the unity government to give us some hope and harmony into the peace. I think this is what everybody, like, all the nation is so happy. And this is what I myself is looking for the unity for as in like the universal value for the stand. So yes, this is why I'm like so happy today. I have to just share this good news to all of you, because it's not easy to get everybody like as a moment, from a diversified background and come into the unity spectrum.
Thank you.
That is the hope. Thank you.
That is beautiful, and that's amazing news. And thank you, Patsy, for being my very dear friend and helping me so much in times when I needed help. Patsy was the first person in Kuala Lumpur that I met, and she found me an apartment. She introduced me to a college that we then worked with. You are amazing, and I'm absolutely, truly, truly grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to call on Philip because he's my oldest friend here. That doesn't mean that he's old, but but I've known him since 1999, I think, Philip.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I'm truly, truly grateful for those years together, and that you are my soul mentor, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Wow. What are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? Well, many, many things. I imagine most people have got a list of things they could pull out that they would be grateful for. Instantly off the top of my head, I suppose it's going to be my relationships with family and friends, and the people I've met here. In terms of authentic harmony and gratefulness, the two link together well for me. Because having a grateful attitude towards what happens, whether it's positive or like your foot yesterday, not so positive, having that grateful attitude is about being aware of the law of attraction and the way in which we attract to ourselves those things which are there for a reason, whether they be the split in the toe or earning a contract with a company you've been looking to gain for a while. And having that grateful attitude is what brings into the world the law of attraction of other people who are also spinning at that same vibrational frequency, who then recognize a soulmate. And I think that's what you have with this group and with the other people who have attended the Authentic Harmony sessions over the year, has been that awareness that there are other people like us out there. It's just finding them, and it's always the strength of the group is greater than the strength of each individual in it. And that's very powerful in terms of what is happening around the world in all sorts of turmoil and all sorts of chaos that's occurring everywhere in every country in some way. So I'm grateful for the fact that I have those connections, even though most of the time I sit on my own. I sit at my computer, I work on my own, and I share what I have with the people that are willing to listen. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautifully said. I'd like to ask Christine, because you were first here today, and we've talked many times about painting a picture for the world.
Right.
And I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. For me, this was a year of assessment. And when I say assessment, it's my internal world. It's how I show up. It's my choices and how all of that impacts my outer world. So I did a lot of deep diving into this year. First quarter, there was a lot of pushing with regard to work and clients. And so I had to really assess, because it wasn't resonating on that soul level. So the gratitude that I'm feeling is that I stopped and took the time and to really take a look at what resonates, what inspires me, and I let that lead me throughout the year. And there's been some really tough challenges, as with everyone else, but I'm just grateful that I listened and I let it take me where it needed to go. And that's when everything revealed itself. That's when, I met all of you wonderful folks, and to be part of this, I'm just, so grateful on this Thanksgiving. And I'm with friends this Thanksgiving versus being solo for so many years. And it's just unfolded in such a beautiful way. And it could bring tears to my eyes right now. So just being here and to be able to share is just beautiful. So thank you all.
Thank you, Christine. And I love the word there about deep diving, as you saw from the other backdrop that I had on. For those of you who just joined, I'll show it to you later. It was a backdrop which was under the sea, as on the Wisdom Circle, and something about being in that totally different, but not that I'm a deep sea diver, but it's a very different world, and it is about deep diving. I think that as a world, as a community, we have a lot to face that is coming up with people who will deny that it's possible to create harmony. And that's where we must all take fortitude, take that opportunity. And I see Stephanie there nodding. I'm going to invite Stephanie. And Stephanie, I only met recently, but you're a very beautiful soul. And I know that you're searching for a different place to be and move. But what are you grateful for this year?
Just like last week, this conversation couldn't have come at a better time, because as of 36 hours ago, I decided to move to Miami on Saturday. So what I'm grateful for is this year has been a year of patience, really discovering patience and abundance and trust. And they're all so interconnected. And why that is for me is because I went from being in London to going on holiday to the jungle of Costa Rica, and then not having the money to go back to the UK, but really using the jungle as an opportunity to be grounded and discover myself newly. And I know myself so much more deeply than I could have ever imagined, both with my relationship to self and my body, as well as like who I want to be out there in the world. And who I am in the world is integrity, authenticity, and joy. And when I have harmony with that, and I'm being that in the world, I notice that everybody around me has harmony. And it comes back to, if we want harmony in this world, we get to look and reflect on, what does that look like for ourselves? Who do we get to be? What do we get to do? How do we get to speak so that we are being harmony? And grateful for this conversation, grateful for all of you guys, and scared shitless, if I may say, about the next couple of days. However, inside of the world of patience and abundance and trust, I know that I can't fail in this endeavor, which gives me harmony. It gives me peace that I can't fail. So
that's wonderful. That's wonderful, Stephanie. I think you've embraced that picture of stepping out. I always say that it's, everything is exciting, scary. It's scary, exciting. And my son would say to me, "Oh, don't get scared, Mum." I said, "No, you need the scary bit with the exciting bit." So it's that adrenaline kick, yeah. So I'm going around my screen here now. I'm going to invite Avril. Avril, what is your gratitude for this year?
That's a very thoughtful question. So, like Christine, I started off assessing things, and for the past 6-7 months, I've been going through a process of personal growth and development. And I had to be courageous and drop some people from my life who weren't serving me. And then, you know, I'm grateful that the right people have come into my life and are coming into my life. So sometimes you just have to jump off that bridge.
Yes.
And just trust that you're going to be okay.
I think that's really good advice. I think it's not about cutting them off ruthlessly, but just saying this isn't working for me. We need to flow. And so I'm very grateful to you, Avril. We've not met in person like many of you, but I've known you for a long, long time, and I'm grateful for you being here. I'm going to go along my screen here. So Alessandro, you next on my screen, and as a newcomer to me, what have you been grateful for this year? What nugget?
Wow. Yeah, I can't believe
you're going to give me
the year's coming to an end already, because so much has happened. I just wrote down a few words here, which they all seem to begin with a C: collaboration, contribution, connection, compassion, and corporate. And you know, I work with Qigong, so a lot of my work is to do with just connecting myself with this universal energy that's there. And I've been in different groups collaborating with other people like yourself in this group. So I'm very grateful for the different groups I'm in, which are here to make a difference. And Mankind Project, doing a lot of work with in men's groups, which I think is greatly needed. In fact, this weekend I'm going on a retreat, warrior weekend. So next time I might come back with a sword and a shield of light, hopefully. Hopefully. But a lot of it has been heart, to do with the heart. You know, in the Chinese tradition, the mind is in the heart. And actually, ironically, or not ironically, I had a text from the National Health Service saying I had to come in for an AAA screening. And I said, I think you got the wrong person, because anyway, AAA is abdominal aortic aneurysm, you know, real mouthful. I didn't even know what it meant, except of course I do know, you know, if I think of the words. And it was me. So I went in this morning to look at my aorta. And the good news is, you know, because I turned 65. So the good news is, she said, we never need to see you again. Your aorta looks beautiful. And I thought, yay. So anyway, my aorta's good. My heart has really opened this year. And it's about really connecting from the heart. And you know, with my not just practice, but from a business point of view as well, it's really connecting genuinely, authentically. And thank God, you know, corporate is beginning to move. So this year I had a session with 22 leaders at Unilever, you know, getting them doing something weird like Qigong, you know, with their arms in the air and all kinds of things. And I thought that's led me, you know, just by being open and out there. And so I'm really grateful for having a healthy aorta. Well,
we're really grateful for your healthy aorta as well. Thank you. But that is, as we listen to the words that everybody's saying, and you feel a connection to anybody in the room, make sure that you put your details in the chat so you can connect if you're not already connected. But Seamus,
just to end, just grateful. Look, this NHS is really suffering here, and yet, you know, I get a text, I get a scan, it's free, you know, it's just amazing. So even though we might criticize it and things are not the way we would like, I'm so grateful for this NHS that we've got, which, you know, we hopefully can support. Well, it's so good to be here. Thank you.
Being in the American health system is very different, but I did get very good support for my damaged toe yesterday.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm grateful for the podcast that you and I did, and that the idea of magical conversations, authentic harmony. And Seamus, we only met once, but you have a lovely, beautiful energy. You were introduced by Dr. Madalena. What is your gratitude, that wisdom that you can share with us today?
Yeah, it's timely actually, because Madeleine and I were just on a call with a client this morning, and that was a core theme. So it's funny how things magically connect. But for me, during that call, we talked about the gift of things we take for granted, the gift to eat, the gift to move, as you appreciate now, and the gift to think. You know, so those very basic, fundamental life gifts that we tend to take for granted. But that's just what I have. You know, that came up from a call earlier on today. But when you ask that question, like personally, this year has been a year where I finally have had the perseverance and courage to be grateful for the perseverance and courage, which ties into the 4 words you shared earlier on today as well, around fortitude particularly, and nurturing. And I felt I'm now, after a lifetime of self-judgment and self-doubt and not being worthy, I very much resonate with what a lot of Stephanie had shared, of having the fortitude, the courage, the perseverance to be able to step in and show up from the heart. I know Alessandra mentioned the heart as well, around who you really are and love yourself. So that for me has been a year of gratitude for finally persevering after a long life of not being in that space, and then to experience what it feels like, and then use that as the fuel to enable me to continue on that journey, but also to enable other people to persevere and have the courage to step into themselves and declare who they are from the heart and show up in the world purely as they are. And I think there's great power and great liberation, personal experience from that. And that is really what I have gratitude for, and I'm feeling, you know, this is exactly where I need to be at this period of time in my life. So thank you for that. And this is a wonderful group. So I'm really feeling at home here too.
That's fantastic. And I think there's so many key points coming out from all of us, but, you know, being in the right moment, that's the thing about the last word. So I put them, for those who just joined us, it's about, what do we nurture this year? What do we help flourish? What do we allow to grow? What fortitude do we have to overcome? As you say, Seamus, making those decisions, Stephanie, moving, you know, making bold decisions to do things. And then lastly, what is our presence now as we go into the next year? I want to briefly get to everybody else here, and especially Eva. Eva, we've known each other for a few years now, but what is your gratitude, gift, and wisdom to us today?
Yeah, thank you for having me here and for participating. Mine is listening. My own gratitude is the ability to listen, because now we live in a very noisy world. I mean, the noise is endless. So I'm very grateful that I'm able to listen to myself. It's kind of introspection, and the ability to turn off the noise and understand myself first. So I'm very grateful that in the midst of all this noise, that I have the ability to pay attention to my environment. Most importantly, to listen to people, listen to their body language, and see where they are coming from. And also the discipline to know when to turn off the social media. I'm grateful that I have the sanity. I do have the sanity to know when to shut off, when to turn off the TV, and when to turn off any source of social media. So yes, my gratitude is focused on listening to myself and listening to my environment, and also listening to people around me. So just shut up my mouth and be more of an observer as opposed to busy, you know, talking. I once read one of my professors once said that people are so busy, our mouth is open, we are busy talking. We don't even know when we die. So I'm very grateful that I have the ability to shut off and pay attention to my environment and pay attention to myself, most importantly, in order to keep my mental health. Yes. Because the noise is very overwhelming. So my gratitude is focused on listening. Listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you as well, because I'm also very grateful to have men and women on this call, because our wisdom is what we listen to each other. And I think it's really important that we come to the world with different perspectives, and that's where we can get to authentic harmony. So thank you, Eva, for that. And next on my screen, there's Dr. Maureen. Dr. Maureen, what is your wisdom gifts to us, so gratitude? That's what we're looking at in this last quarter of an hour. What are the top level gratitude wisdoms that we can take away with us for next year? You're on mute.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
I am so grateful to be here that I can start off with the first thing I can say is I'm grateful to be alive this morning. I'm grateful that I'm going to be able to go spend some time with my family members, my son. I have a son and I have a daughter-in-law and I have a grandson. And at the end of the day, when I've done everything I need to do in this world, when I have lifted people, when I've participated and added value to people, at the end of the day, if I didn't add value to my family, if I didn't spend time with them, they're the ones that are going to have to close my eyes and cover my casket. And so I am grateful that God has given me the time to spend time with them. I'm grateful for the fact that my son takes care of his health. I don't have to worry about him. He eats well. He takes care of his family. He has a gentle, firm hand on everything in his household. And I'm grateful for that because as a mother, if I'm out there adding value and my family is in disarray, I'm not going to be able to do what I do from the heart.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful for my family. The other thing I'm grateful for today, Pauline, is my health. Throughout the year, I've had to continue to add value, but at the same time to add value to me, which meant that I had to listen to my body. And whenever I needed to go to my really special doctor, I went and I did what she told me to do. Because you know what? Without this body, without this frame that I live in, I won't be able to be talking to you right now or to do authentic harmony and any of those things. So I'm grateful for my family and I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for all of the fact that I do what my doctors tell me to do. And then I'm able to show up with energy, with great authenticity and love. And all of these heartfelt values that we have identified and are going to live by beginning January. I'm so grateful for the hours that you and I have spent together, getting to know each other, getting to connect with each other. You're one of the special gifts that God has given to me this year.
Thank you.
And our friendship, I'm grateful for it, is developing not only the friendship side, but the professional side. Yes. How, the universe will bring people together from different tribes, towns, nations, and connect us around a core value, which is authenticity and harmony, and working together with the other members of the human race, the male species, to forge authentic harmony. And finally, I'm grateful for gentleness.
Oh, I like that.
Of gentleness. I have started to be gentle with myself, and most importantly, to be gentle with people around me. Because in order for me to be able to be gentle, as I studied that, I need to be humble. I need to be humble, and I need to be able to honor people. No one who is not gentle, harsh, brusque, very, what shall I say, impatient and not having time to listen to people and all this, that all comes from ego. That all comes from the inability to forgive, the inability, all of these things. So I've decided that this coming year, gentleness would be the word that I would be working on, and I'm grateful that I've started to reap the benefits of being gentle. And to be gentle with myself, I agree with my sister who says, Pauline, finally, that the people who were in my life that were not gentle to me, I just graciously asked them to leave.
Yes.
So, and then God brought into my life people like you and everybody else who is on the platform, who I will get to know and meet in person, and we'll do great things in 2023. Okay. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to share my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. A dear friend of mine from England, Susan, who we have actually met, haven't we, Susan? Physically. Yes, of course, when I was in England, but there is a difference between meeting on the Zoom and actually meeting and hugging. But one day we will all get together and hug. We'll have a big group hug. So Susan, what are your gratitude wisdoms for us today?
There's much of what's already been said that I won't bother repeating. But I think key for me is conversation. And I gave a talk yesterday, which was the power of conversation for transformation. And I was talking about the conversations I have had and how it's led to transformation in other people. But as you do so, you then turn the mirror back to self. And the question was asked, what about me? What transformation have I gone through as an impact of all the conversations? And as I said, within what a lot of people, most especially Christine, has said, I can reflect back and say, yes, these are some of the things that I've learned, because you talk to people, you learn about them, you learn you learn about yourself as well. And so I'm grateful for the growth, the increased understanding, and dare I say, wisdom that has come from the power of conversation. And I look forward to continuing that journey into New Year, knowing that there have been challenges, but knowing I've been able to, learning how to raise my head above what's going on, and knowing that through that I can continue my own transformation and growth, but also support the transformation and growth of others to, should I say, as I say in my language, to develop a mosaic world. And within that is the authentic harmony as well.
Thank you, because your book is, and your mission is about the mosaic world. So thank you, Susan. And now there's Amanda and Stacey, you on the line. I really would like to have your gratitude wisdoms for this time. So Stacey, we've only got 5 minutes left, but I'd love to have a word from you, Stacey, and from Amanda. Stacey, what's your top wisdom, gratitude, my darling?
I think I'm going to echo what most people have said already, really, but my personal experience stems from things I am not grateful for. I'm never going to be grateful for suffering, pain, injustice. I've been told I shouldn't be alive, yet I'm still here. I will never be grateful for that experience. But in accepting my disability that I have at the moment, I've had to accept what I can't do and embrace what I can do. So self-love, self-acceptance, I know my strengths. And because I know my strengths, I'm going for it. I'm going for it with everything I've got. And I will never accept what I've seen. Never. But I'm going to use my strengths, my talents, anything I now know, accept, and I'm capable of, and I'm going to change it in the way that I know how, because I accept myself, I love myself, and I'm running with it. So that's kind of my contribution. And I'm grateful for LinkedIn, because I'm bold enough to come to a meeting where I don't know anybody and just come and just see what it's about. And I'm comfortable doing that. I accept that about myself, and I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be that change I want to see in the way I know how. And when I learn, I'm going to continue. So I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Fantastic, Stacey, and I'm so delighted you're here. I know I've been so busy lately, but we will catch up. But I love your energy and your passion, because, you know, from the deep dive to all the wisdom we're having, it's so important to keep going. It's that fortitude. That's the fortitude. So Amanda, if you're there on the line, let's have a word from you. We only met recently, and your passion is to help change the world. I know that. So what is your gratitude for this moment and being here?
My gratitude in this moment for being here is that I'm alive. I'm breathing. I can see, I can hear. I'm with every one of you here right now. And I think changing the world is a little, I'm not sure if that's exactly what I would say about myself. But I'm definitely committed to uniting humanity, and who I am is compassion, dignity, and equity for myself and all others. And I'm grateful to be in challenging conversations that are very much us versus them conversations, and to have the tools and the humility to co-create spaces in which we can all come together and unite and transform the us versus them conversations. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. We have a journey to continue together, because I love what everybody has said. We're all on this journey together, and I think it's very important that we shared this. I've recorded it. I'm going to send you back the transcript. Take a note of everybody's words. I'm just fascinated. I love what Eva said about listening. I've been listening to your words, from the deep dive to the exciting, scary, to the, you know, can we transform the world? My passion is to transform the world one conversation at a time. And this is a massively wonderful conversation. And if we can actually replicate this over millions and millions and millions of people, just having these conversations, admitting our vulnerability, knowing what we love, what do our family mean to us? What do people mean to us? What is the world about? And we can mount all those difficult conversations, as you said, Amanda, survive all the disabilities, create something which is harmonious. You can't be harmonious if you're on your own. Yes, you can. You can be in harmony with yourself and nature. So I take that back. But talking to my musician husband, as he said, from a musical point of view, you need several voices to make harmony. So as our voices come together, we create this harmony. And if we want peace, we want joy, we want new systems, we want new worlds, we want new ways of doing business where women are never marginalized and men are never afraid, where we can actually come together and deal with the difficult subjects, because they're not going to go away just because we have authentic harmony. My vision is that as we come together to the table of authentic harmony, we then resolve the big issues of our world by listening to each other and observing our differences, understanding what kind of perspectives we have on the world. I'm truly, truly appreciative of all of you today, and I thank you from the depths of my heart. And my little toe, which I damaged yesterday, is a lot better today. And I think you've inspired me to make it even more healed. Thank you. It was a real lesson to me that, you know, damaging one little toe can make you totally off balance. When you've got major disabilities, then I understand the huge courage that everybody has, especially you, Stacey. And we all are part of a world that is in need of us. And that's the wisdom that I would like to leave you with. In a practical sense, I am republishing my book that I published 4 years ago, and it never really made the headline. So I've changed the title, and the title is The Power of Authentic Harmony, Magical Conversations that Transform Our World. And hopefully it will be out mid-December with a new corporate art website, which, this way, my logo there, which is the lighthouse. And one thing to remember is we're each a lighthouse shining a light across the world in order to enable other people to sail safely in their journey. And if you're the light, remember that the lighthouse doesn't move. The lighthouse is solid, it's grounded. Be grounded, understand our vulnerabilities, and shine a light that will take us into the new year. And I will have the next Wisdom Circle won't be until January. So I'm going to wish you also a wonderful end to the year. And I want to set up monthly Wisdom Circle magical conversations next year, but also introduce you to some of the amazing programs that we're going to run with Corporate Heart and enable you all to share your programs. And we'll update you on the positive masculinity work that we're doing with the G100. That's coming together. I have my G100 country chairs coming together on Saturday. And we're forging a strategy to look beyond the past and create the new. So thank you.